Let's bring in Bip Roberts right now, former All-Star, former Padre, retired as an Oakland A. Bip Roberts joining us, Oaktown's finest, always representing Oakland. Bip, what's up, man? It's your boy Kyle, man. Drapes, thanks for jumping on with us.
Kyle, and you know what? I heard that pumps in a bump, and I just thought about the last time I hung out with Hammer, man. You know, he's about to go out on tour, right? And the thing about it is, he still moves like he used to move.
In what way, Bip? Because that could go a couple of different ways. What way Hammer's still moving like he used to?
You know how guys that are about our age try to move and they can't move, and it's slow motion.
You see that video of Genuine, right? Like,
slow motion spinning.
I get you.
Right.
Bip, man, I appreciate you. Give me one Hammer story real quick. You grew up with Hammer, Oakland, obviously. Give me one Hammer story.
When we were in high school, Hammer played for McClymonds High School. He played shortstop, and he was a year older than I was, and I played shortstop for Skyline High School. And that day I had 3 hits. He had none. He said, I think you're going to be all-city, and I would have been all-city, but I won't be this year.
Dang.
Bip took it from Hammer.
Yeah, exactly, right? He got the one up on him on that. Bip, what does opening day mean for you? You still get some chills and still get excited at the popcorn, the sound of the bat, the fans. You still get excited on a day like today?
It's a celebration. All day long, I've been flicking back and forth to every game that's on. And then the Padres and the Giants came on, and of course I got to watch my Pods play, man. I know it's a lot of Giants out here, but I was down there representing the Padres, and every time we played the Giants, man, we want to beat them. And so it's one of those things. Opening day, everybody has the thought process that they're going to win a championship, but it's just going to take it's a lot of work to be. But spring, the first day of the always one of those festive days, and I'll never forget that. I had a chance to play in 11 of them where I started, and I thought that was the greatest day I could ever dream of.
Bip Roberts joining us, starred with the Padres, has some great seasons with the Reds, and, of course, finished out his career with the Oakland A's. Let's talk about both local teams, the Giants and the A's, Bip. Me and Jay were just talking about the Giants and some of the moves they made late in free agency, late as we were getting ready to start the season, getting Blake Snell, Soler, Chapman. Jay likes that move. What do you make of the Giants, and can they get back to the playoffs? Do they have enough bats in that lineup?
Well, when you talk about the bats, when you add certain type of guys to that lineup, it just kind of it elongates it. It allows you to have good at bat after good at bat. You bring Soler over, you bring Chapman over. And now you start looking at, okay, we got 2 veteran guys who, from the right side of the plate, can do some damage. And I think that's one of the things about playing in San Francisco is that a lot of right-handed hitters, they won't come there because it's a little cool at night and it's a bigger ballpark. And a lot of guys from the right side go the opposite way. But these are 2 guys who like to pull. So that's not going to bother them as much. So they're going to fit right in. And I think when you have Logan that's on the mound and you have Snell, you got a good lefty and a good righty. So anytime you go in the face of certain teams, they're going to have to make those adjustments against a good sinker baller and a guy who can throw the ball 90-plus with a good slider, changeup, and curve. So they're going to make teams work this year. They're not going to be a pushover. We know it's a long season. Team has to gel because they brought these guys in a little late in spring training. But Chapman, wherever he goes, he's going to fit in. And Snell, wherever he gets the ball, he's going to make sure that he gets it across the plate.
Bip, I'm a lifelong Oakland A's fan, and I hate to hear you even say some positive things about the Giants, but I know that's your job, that's what you do, and I know Bip is super positive. Let's kick it back down to SoCal. You talked about the Padres real fast. Padres, Giants, Dodgers, they're kind of all in that. Dodgers has separated themselves, but to me, and of course the Diamondbacks are there. Do you see the Giants fighting for a playoff position against those Padres and Diamondbacks?
I think it's going to be real tough, man. I made the statement almost 12 years ago now that the Dodgers would dominate the West, and they did. And so I'm going to make this statement again. The Dodgers will dominate the West. It doesn't matter what the Padres do. It doesn't matter what Arizona does. And it doesn't matter what the Giants do. They don't have Mookie Betts. They don't have Ohtani. They don't have Freeman. And they don't have so many guys that when you look at that team, they spent over $1 billion for this team.
Right.
I think we all want to know is, can you spend $1 billion and win a World Series? We already know they're going to win over 100 ball games. But the bottom line is that if they don't win the World Series championship, that's a bust when it comes to the Dodgers. You know, when you look at Arizona and they continue to improve based on, you know, having another year's experience and understanding, hey, we're good enough to get to a World Series. We're good enough. We know we can play. So they're going to have that hunger still because they got a lot of young guys who are still trying to prove themselves. The Padres, what can you say, man? Manny Machado, I got a chance to talk to him in spring training. I just love that kid. And of course, I'm a former Padre, so I like my Pods. I like to believe that they're going to have a better record than the Giants at the end of the season, all based on the talent that they have and the ballpark they play in down at Petco where the weather is nice every day. So I just see those three teams being the top three when you talk about the West. Now, anything can happen. There could be some injuries. There could be some pitchers who are not throwing like they're capable of when it comes to the Giants, the Dodgers, the Arizona, and the Pods. And the Giants could be right there to catch that. So it's a long season. Those are my three favorites. But I know the Giants, they're going to come to play.
Bip, as we continue to talk about this, you know, I'm listening to you. And basically, it sounded like you could just buy a championship. And I know the Dodgers have come up short in recent years, you know, but I look at the Padres, they've invested some money in it. Like, when you look at those teams, the Dodgers, Padres, what do the small markets, what can they do to compete with these guys? You know, I hate the fact, and we started off our show today talking about Major League Baseball, to me, seems like the only of the four where you know from day, like we know the Oakland A's ain't going to get it done this year, Bip. Let's keep it real. We know, you know, the Chicago White Sox, who Jay is rocking, ain't going to get it done. What can Major League Baseball do to have a little bit more parity to give some of these smaller market teams hope?
Well, we didn't know Arizona would make it.
Yeah, they came. Yep, I give you that.
They showed up and showed out. So I think the bottom line is that there is a team sitting out there that we haven't talked about that we've overlooked. And that will be the team that you'll think about it later and say, man, I should have bet a little something on that team. You know what I'm saying? But you weren't thinking about them because of all the money spent by the big market team. See, like right now, look at what Baltimore is doing. You think about, wait a minute, man, these guys, man, they might have a shot. Because what we saw last year, we didn't expect that. I didn't expect it, even though they had some of the best minor league players in all of baseball. They brought them up, sort of like Houston Astros have done. They brought all those guys at one time, and they became a juggernaut. And now when you look at Baltimore, you're saying, hey, man, they might have a shot. Right now, they're just whooping up on the Angels. You see, this is day one, but this is how they will play all season long. So, yeah, I mean, hey, it just depends on what you have in your minor league system. Is this the capable talent that you have that could go to the big leagues and perform on that level? And that's where scouting and what you want to do as an organization comes to effect. Do we have the right players for our organization that's going to get us to the top? And you see right now, Baltimore has that right now.
Joined by Bip Roberts, NBC Sports Bay Area analyst, one of my favorite guys. He trained me, Kyle, at a camp in my up and coming career before I got to college and so on and so forth. So I got love for Bip at a camp. But Bip, let's kick it over, man, to your hometown, Oakland A's, my favorite team. Everything off the field, we'll leave that there. On the field, is there absolutely anything for me to get excited about?
The lawman, Lawrence Butler, man.
Okay.
That boy has put on some pounds as far as weight is concerned. He's got more confidence. He was one of the best in the minor leagues. He came up last year. He is definitely a talent. And then when you start around, you say, Noda, play. Rooker now understands how to play a full season through the ups and the downs. Allen at shortstop makes the play. What I'm trying to say is that all of these guys last year went through growing pains and started to understand what the big leagues was like, how tough it can be day in and day out. And I think they learned from that. And because of that, what we always like to say is it takes 3 years for you to become a major leaguer. You can get to the big leagues, have a cup of coffee, and go back down. But I think these are the guys that have come through the organization that are here to stay. They're going to prove to you why they're in the big league. Now, that's one of those teams you say, man, B, don't tell me you think they can make the playoffs. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say this. When you come to Oakland, it's not going to be an easy win like it was last year.
Bip Roberts joining us. Bip, I'm listening to you, and we know the cloud hanging over the organization with the Vegas and maybe where the team's going to play next season. As a player, how much do you think that affects guys? Does what happens off the field, organizational wise, affect the players on the field?
I don't even think they're worried about that. I think these guys are so young and so hungry. They're trying to keep that Oakland on the front of their chest right there. They don't want it to say Las Vegas. And I mean that as far as the AAA is concerned. They don't want to go back to the minor leagues. These guys are thinking about staying focused on what they have to do. Now, if you ask them a question about it, I'm sure they're going to answer it, but that's not their entire focus. Their entire focus is to make sure they put up some good numbers so that it will get sent back to the minor league. I just see these guys as I went down to spring training and watched them and talked to them. I just see how they've really matured in this league. When you lose over 100 games and it's your rookie season, it's something you're not going to forget because it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And then when you say, okay, how did I do against the league? You have to go back and look and say, okay, I started to improve at this time. I started to understand what I was actually doing. I started to have success. That's what's going to carry over to this year. And it has nothing to do with what's happening off the field. It has to do with how the coaches meet you where you are. They get there early. They get you out there for extra work. They're working on your defense, working on your hands. They take you up in the cage and start working on your swing. So the work ethic is there. The talent is there. Now you need the results. And I think they're hungry. And so I think they're going to get better results than they did last year.
Bib, I've had the opportunity to have you on the show before and ask you about your thoughts on, the A's potentially leaving out of Oakland and what it means for yourself. So I'm not going to end with that today because it's opening day. We're saying happy thoughts. Something I haven't been able to ask you over the years and something I always like to ask my fellow infielders. Give me your top 2 or 3 cats who had the saucy hands. Like you were great with the hands, man. But who were 2 or 3 people that you looked over to your left or your right and you're like, ooh, mean, Omar Vizquel type hands. Like he's got some good palms.
You just said it. Omar Vizquel was that one. Like, oh my, did he just make that? Did he catch the ball in his hand or did he catch the ball in his bare? What did he just do? It was incredible. And then Barry Larkin.
Oh yeah.
D. Lark was sweet. D. Larkin had some of the softest feet and the ability to get to a ball that you didn't think he could get to. And I think even though he was in the Hall of Fame, a lot of people still overlook D. Lark. But B. Lark was one of the best players that I had ever seen. I guess I'm partial to shortstops, even though I was a second baseman, third baseman. Gary Templeton was one of my favorites. Ozzie Smith was one of my favorites. All these guys had range, they had hands, and they had something to throw with, man. They were some of the best athletes in all of baseball.
Bip Roberts. Bip, we appreciate you, man. Great stuff. As always, best of luck this season. And, you need to take me and Jay out to see a Hammer show or something like that. Come on, man. Dude, even I'm from Philly, Bip, but I knew about MC Hammer. I rocked with Hammer back in the day.
Hey, man, I rock with a lot of his boys. Man, we're just excited about him going back out on tour because I think a lot of people had never seen Hammer. And now they're going to see him a little more mature. But like I said, he can still move the same way.
Still put on the show. Bip, we appreciate you, man. Take care. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Hey, man, appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Bip Roberts right there as we continue to talk opening day right now. The Giants trailing the Padres 2-1, bottom of the 6th. Dodgers up on the Cardinals 6-1. We'll bounce back, take a short break here on the Drive Guys, Sactown Sports 1140.